and welcome back to the Christian Carrasquillo Experience. My name is Dolores Benítes, and today we are here with Christian Carrasquillo. And we also have a very special guest coming straight from the US. We have Steve Grau with us. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Great. Amazing, actually. Thank you for having me here. This is exciting.
Well, first thing first, we want to say thank you for being here. I guess you have a very busy life, but, it's so great to have you here.
Oh, I just popped on the flight, just came in here, 15 hours for a podcast. No big deal. No, it was just so fortunate that I was in Buenos Aires and connected with my good friend Christian here. So it's a pleasure, really is, to be here.
Well, great. It's just a piece of cake coming here just for a podcast. So tell me, I wanted to ask you how you are the founder of Royal Ambulance. So can you tell us a bit about you?
Sure. A bit about me. As older I get, there's a bit more that comes in at that end. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I think what certainly defined me is the way that I grew up. I was born and raised in Soviet Union, in Ukraine to be precise. Ended up as a teenager in San Francisco, and pretty much lived there my whole life, more or less after. Funny, you don't know this, but I started my career in tech. I was an IT dude. Actually started taking some programming courses, quickly figured out what I'm not going to be good at. C, COBOL, that was kind of like the first foray into technology. And then sort of from there, I figured out that I really like two things. I like solving problems and I like talking to people. And so those usually go hand in hand. And that's how I ended up in IT. From there, my journey was there, 5 years or 6 years or so. It was very interesting in learning about technology and how technology enables. Back then, it was like everything was new. It was internet just came out. People started using World Wide Web. It was a very exciting time, much like it is now with AI. So I'm sure we'll draw lots of parallels from there. But then from there, I got into health. My grandfather, who I was really close with, had a stroke. I ended up being his care coordinator and just got super fascinated about the human impact that providers get to create in the lives of complete strangers and how that scales to their families and, it just ripples through purely through your knowledge, your thoughts, your actions, and more importantly, your empathy. So that's what got me super attracted to healthcare, just because of that human impact that you get to create. I'd love to hear your perspectives. I know you were a medic at one point and a combat medic at that. And from there, life just unfolded. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how I ended up in half of the things I'm doing. But I think it's just been an interesting unfolding of life. That's just how I would put it. And so today, I'm a CEO, founder of Royal Ambulance. We are a Bay Area provider. We do some 911. Primarily, we focus on enabling transportation systems for healthcare. We focus primarily on medical, very high-level medical, everything from NICU, PICU to critical care. BLS is usually majority of the volume stuff. And then we do a lot of cool stuff like events. We set up a crazy hospital at Burning Man and have a lot of fun in between. And then in my other life, I wear a hat of a incoming president of California Ambulance Association. So a lot of it is about policy and politics and making sure that we have sustainable EMS systems. And then on the side, I'm also a co-founder and executive chairman of Onward Health, which is a transportation startup. We do two things. One, we provide transportation with assistance. We call them companion rides. And two, it's a platform that connects healthcare systems to providers, basically eliminating barriers to healthcare. I know that was a long-ass answer.
I want to go back to something that you said before, that, you being the founder of Royal Ambulance comes from a very personal experience. So I wanted to ask you, what changes did you feel you needed to make to change, to improve the emergency medical services?
Well, I don't know if I've ever had this kind of a quest to make changes like, oh my God, these things are broken. Let's go figure out how to fix them. I think my innate, I think characteristic, maybe element is I really want to understand things first. So I get naturally super curious. I think for me, especially in the later years, identifying the sense of wonder as I'm pursuing different, as I'm pursuing different disciplines, or if I'm trying to unlock something, it's really trying to understand what it's all about. What's the root of it? What's the history? How does it work? Can it be better? Maybe there's barriers to it never to be better, but certainly there's usually stuff that can be improved. So that's how I look at things.
Well, and that goes hand in hand with solving problems, as you said.
That's right. and usually there's problems to be solved.
Well, that's a good way to see it. Fixing problems sometimes can, you feel a lot of pressure to doing things right. How do you manage being the founder? Must be very hard because you're kind of like the leader of everything. So how do you help others to solve problems in your own team?
I think you just said the right word, right? Being a leader. I think I take that word really seriously, and because being a leader is a discipline. It is a discipline, and it is part science, part art, because you have to study leadership from every sort of walk of life. And certainly we have lots of leadership examples daily in our lives, right? Whether you want to look at government and, whether you agree or disagree, that's certainly signs of leadership one way or another. You can pick what you admire, what you don't. Certainly from contextual perspective, there's military leadership that try to accomplish one perspective, right? Win the battle or win the war. And then there is sort of the human side of leadership, is how do you connect and understand other humans in order to align between the vision, the mission, and then how do you integrate those essential pieces like the values of the organization in order for everybody to be on the same page and focus on the same objective. So to me, that's, how I approach it. I think about it. How do I build the best team that understands the objective of our vision, and then what mission are we on, and how do we align through structural things? So that's, no simple answer to that, but that's how I think about it.
I want you to explain to us something that you said that I read. You said great leadership starts with self-leadership.
Yes.
What is it about that?
So that's certainly, been probably a pursuit for me for the last 10 years, maybe more. I've had many dramatic experiences as a leader, as a founder, right? When you start something, you focus so much on like the technical aspect of the thing that you need to do, whether it's a technology or, in the EMS, right? It's people, right? Like how do you recruit and retain? There's this whole HR people side life cycle of things. So how do you attract people? How do you position a brand? How do you worry about marketing? How do you worry about stickiness? How do you worry about revenue cycle and operations and fleet and all of the above that are components of the business? But where I think I made most improvements based on the failures that I've had is how I show up, how my mindset is, how I process errors and move forward, because I was getting so stuck every time I would make a mistake, and it would be so toxic internally. And I'm a high energy individual. So when my energy dies because I'm stuck in my head, then nothing else works. And so when I talk about self-leadership, is really being conscious of your thoughts that lead to your actions and that lead to impact for others. So that to me is what self-leadership is about. It's about being conscious and aware on how you show up.
Well, yes, I guess you're your own leader in some way, so that
Yes,
you have to
in
improve
every
that.
way.
Yes. So, and another thing you said, bring it back. The emergency medical services. I want to ask you, what role do you think technology plays in modernizing emergency medical services?
Oh gosh, I
That's a
love
big
that.
question.
It is a big question, and this is why I love this conversation, because we have Christian here who just do a little bit of a background here. I met Christian in Monterey, at California Ambulance Association's really interesting and exciting panel. We had 5 different leaders from different organizations talking about AI. Now, that's how we met, and we had some progressive conversations about it. Now, technology is an essential backbone to anything that we do today in life, right? Forget about healthcare or just in life. We became so dependent on every system that runs our existence. Now, of course, you multiply that with the emergency response systems, right? Whether it's the call intake functions or the dispatch functions, that's usually, let me step back a little bit, right, and say, here's the core components of EMS technology, right? We need to be able to take input or receive a call, make sure that it's documented effectively, making sure that it's routed effectively through our dispatch systems, that it's interconnected to the patient care record for the EMT or paramedic or nurse that's being dispatched. And then that record is comprehensive in terms of quality of care. And then the back end product is a clean and clear revenue cycle mechanism that communicates with payers and insurance to make sure that the foundation of our existence is sustainable. Those are the basic components. And so technology is essential. Now, where is it going is a better question.
Yeah. I mean, we got to do a little bit of, EMS history in terms of like how tech has been integrated. I work at the paramedic level. Obviously, you're at the executive level, right? So we kind of come from different backgrounds.
Well, we have the practice and, the mind. Both.
The leadership and the practice.
Well, funny is, right, when I was a EMT 20 years ago in the field, most agencies did paper, right? So the mechanisms were completely different, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, but that wasn't that far ago, right? That was what, 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Most agencies transferred to electronic patient care records right around that time.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, so basically the tech side that started 20 years ago implemented, electronic patient care reports. First it started obviously where it matters, which is the revenue cycle, right? And then it kind of like progressively we're going through all the core components, which will be like CAT, the dispatch portion, and then fully completing the electronic patient care report. Those technologies, the big players, implemented the technology back then, and then been trying to iterate since then. From my point of view, from the tech industry, not on the EMS industry, but my point of view, slowly or very slow speed or.
Let me ask you this philosophical question. Why do you think it's so hard, right? Because certainly I think you brought in this historical context. And, historically, at least in the EMS field, like Zoll has been like this stalwart. They were one of the biggest market share holders historically. And these systems were like hodgepodge together, or you need a dispatch or you need a billing. They plugged them in. But certainly now, why is it so hard to create a new dispatch system or a new EPCR system? Why can't it be all modernized with like an AI back?
Well, I
something?
mean, I think this is my opinion, right? My assessment from the outside of your point of view. But I think the biggest problem is the expertise that's brought into EMS is not the right expertise. It's almost like like for example, Sol, like did acquisition. So we need this. We're just going to acquire this company, and that's it. Ambience company X needs a new IT system. Then let's just let the IT guy handle it and build something. Well, the IT guy does IT. He is not an application developer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then like the people that are building things or continuing to maintain things are not from the tech side. Like worked at Amazon, worked at Google, worked at Netflix. Like all that experience from building big products, like pipelines, all that stuff is not there basically for me.
So do you think the industry is not attracting the right level of skill set?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Based on the historical sort of context of it, meaning that, here's this little EMS industry, right? That people from Google where they push the envelope in terms of technology are just simply not interested.
I mean, you can pay somebody to be interested, right?
Can you?
Right?
I don't know. Can you pay someone to be interested?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. We decided. That's decided.
If you set up your budget to be like if you see like, I'm just saying like hypothetical company X, like hypothetical company X starts company now, it's gonna know the players, right? Like Sol and whatnot. They're not gonna say, okay, I'm gonna try to hire this $200,000 developer that worked for Google, that or it was a project lead or something. Like they're not gonna set that budget. I don't see that happening, right?
And it's probably like 600,000.
Yes.
Point taken.
But you know what I mean? That's the point. Is
Do you think it's just a budgetary constraint?
It could be a budgetary constraint. I don't know why it goes behind the minds of those leaders in the EMS. Because obviously there's lack of knowledge in how to get the expertise on board. Because for example, like I think that like let's say if I go company X CEO and I say, hey, in order to accomplish this and innovate, you need to hire this team or X, Y, Z, or hire a consulting company that knows how to do it.
So I want to go back to something that you have two very different opinions. Well, not very different.
Can you let me finish my thought?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, okay. So a company. So I go to they want to accomplish something. This X, Y, Z. Oh, I want an EPCR. Well, you need a team that has to architect the app correctly, HIPAA compliance, SOC 2 compliance. You need something that you need to innovate. You need to start using backend system. Microservices, how to implement with the cloud, consistency, availability. There's a lot of things that you have to think about. And to them, the way my experience in Massachusetts, at least with the leaders there, because I know some of them, was like, oh, we need to build this. Oh yeah, I can just hire this guy from India and do this. I'm like, yes, you can, but if you hire the guy, and do one guy, and for very, very, very cheap money, because you think the app does X, Y, Z, this like a black box kind of that's what I'm thinking. Versus like, oh, this is like an actual discipline. Like you want a plumber, you need to hire like an actual expert. You know what I mean? Like this is like what
I know all well what you mean. I'll let Lola ask her question.
Yes,
and I'll finish on that.
You said something. It was very interesting what you said. Because it's just like a house. If you're building a house, if you have to make the floor, you have to call someone who knows how to make a floor. Because if you call someone else, your floor 2 years after that is going to break down.
Yeah.
So I think that was something that was very interesting. But I want to go back. You both have a long experience with AMS. So I want to ask you, how do you balance innovation and safety in healthcare in emergency situations?
You want to take that on as a tech dude? I can certainly reflect on it in a very interesting way because it's funny. So one of the reasons I'm here is I yesterday had a meeting. I'm a part of this group, Catalyst, and it is insurance organization, if you would, that manages risk and coverage for EMS. It started as an ambulance only, and now it extended to allied services. We have like 140 member companies, and we share risk. But the point being is, is that everything started with safety, because the only way we can manage risk for our employees and for the patients, and naturally then it translates into this insurance claims and so on, is by being hyper safety focused. So it's safety from both everything from moving and lifting and driving, but we have not super talked about safety and technology. So I think this is something interesting that you've tapped into, is how do we evolve technology to create better access to intelligence from the protocols and applications for providers at the time of care. So I'm fascinated by that. So tell us a little bit more about how that journey is, evolving.
I mean, just like you need to build a house, you have to, think about all the possible aspects. When we tried to go of building the AI safety into baking it into the system that we built, it took us a long time because it's really hard to get accurate results. That's one of the biggest things that, for me, I believe in AI, is that, people are saying, AI to this, AI to that, AI to everything. It's not really as easy as just saying, like vibe code it and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, you need to think about what is going to be the safety use of that, and how accurate is the information that you're getting out, the results that you're getting out of the models. Because once you start getting bad output, or inaccurate results, then it becomes useless, basically.
You lose trust in the ability, or worse, it leads to really poor unintended outcomes.
Yes, correct. But this could be like, this same philosophy can permutate across all layers of everything, because at the point of care, obviously you want high accuracy, but that applies also to other layers like billing, or other layers like EPCR reporting. Like, once you start getting accuracy eyes in your generations for AI, then it becomes very useful. It actually becomes really, really useful. But it's almost like a coin, right? Like, either it becomes actually really useful or it's completely useless, because the in between is you're wasting budget and money on developing something that, it's not really going to do much, right?
Yeah, I can agree with this. We dabbled a little bit in trying to apply machine learning to revenue cycle over some time with a technology partner, and it certainly is proven to be harder than it looks on the surface. So where do you think the application of AI is going? And why is it so difficult now? And is it going to be easier?
Well, it's even more difficult now. That's the thing.
It's even more difficult now.
Yeah, because like I said before, they need the expertise. But you know how much it costs that now? A lot.
Is that because there's a finite amount of people that specialize in it?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's where colleges and universities need to focus on AI developer mills, or how do we satisfy the appetite of organizations by creating more accessible AI transformation?
Yeah, so I think this could be basically boiled down to I'm trying to help out on my end because I have the capacity and the bandwidth, right? And I'm, the know-how. I'm an AI ML engineer, but right now I could just walk out on a job and they offer me $600,000, I go. You know what I mean? But I'm not doing that. They already did. But I like my independence.
Okay.
But yeah, right now the budgets are just completely constrained, and it's gonna be hard to catch up, to be honest with you, because if you want right now, big companies are pushing themselves.
Yes,
literally.
So you're literally right. Apple, Tesla, Meta, right? You read this.
Yeah,
that the organizations are literally poaching the leading talent.
Yeah,
and then that makes you wonder what the hell happens to the product. Right, when my lead engineering 2-3 people walked out.
I mean, I think that's the one other thing that comes with the experience of the leaders and the project managers and the people that actually worked at Amazon or X company that's FANG, or the experience is there. It's when you build, like I was talking before, when you build a platform or a system that's well maintainable, broken down in domains, etc., it becomes easy also for somebody to come in and review it, right? So if that leadership leaves, they can see the containerized, domain-specific applications. It's easier for somebody to repost, come in, and look at the code. Oh, I know what this does. But if you have a complete monolithic application, single app, or like 20 years ago, I will have to look at like literally 10,000 lines of code. How am I going to maintain that, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes a problem, right? But almost all the OpenAI, everybody does best practice, and that's why they can swap around. Because like if you do things the best practice, the person that's coming from Meta can work on OpenAI, and the person that works on OpenAI can work on Meta. But in EMS, that doesn't exist. Everybody is like a cowboy. I'll do this, I'll do that. I haven't seen literally, even with the players now, I don't see the same structure. Even the big players now, I don't see the same structure. So I don't know what the issue is with the big players now, that offer like APCR solutions and now starting to offering, interactions with AI and, AI integrations in, different cycles of the core components. Mm-hmm. I still don't see the talent there. I feel like they're just playing catch up right now with the current workforce they have, and the current workforce is not prepared for this. So either they send them from training, or, it's hard to get. It'll take years, Like it took me 3 years to get here, to know like how to run models. Actually, we're never gonna know how they actually work internally in the neural network. Maybe in 10 years when we have super intelligence, but the layers of the onion outside, I know. Right, but it took me years to get that experience. I worked with NVIDIA and whatnot.
Now I want you to take you back to your experience as a leader. So I want to know, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
How would I describe myself as a leader? It's an interesting question. I'd like to think of myself as driven, and again, it's certainly interesting, right? Because as a part of Royal, we're very consistent in terms of what are our organizational values. Now, our organizational values have been designed by me, but it was also a part of a team and a kind of evolutionary process. But I think it's kind of like these elements blend over time. When a leader, founder builds a team of people around him or her, and then those people embody some of those behaviors. So those descriptors are certainly, I think, are part of my ethos in a way that I like to think I embody those characteristics. For me, being driven means, just like pushing every day, being a little bit better than the next, or the last, I should say, and focusing on progress, because I think progress is what, as leaders, we all want to accomplish, whether it's progress in relationships, progress in the organizational success, progress towards objectives, but it takes an element of drive, also for me, synonymous with grit. I think that's a core component. I like to think of myself as empathetic, because I think leaders need to understand, what is happening with the teams and people that they're leading, and they need to be in tune with feelings and emotions and energies and all of that. I think being adaptable for us is incredibly important in EMS, because, for me, it's always like, oh, okay, this didn't work out. How do we adjust? Or this is working out really well, right? We have our strategic plans that are super static. This is where we're doing, this is what we want to accomplish. But then a dynamic opportunity comes up, and we have to evaluate whether that's the right pursuit or not. So that's where adaptability comes in really handy. And I think finally being engaging. To me, like I talked a little bit about having this element of sense of wonder, and meaning like I'm really curious about what's going to happen. And that's where engagement comes from. So as a leader, you have to be naturally inclined to want to know things. And we certainly in our organization want to instill that in every leader level, because you have a team member that comes in, you can read their body language. You want to know what happens or what's happening in their life. Or if there was an unattended outcome, you also want to be curious, not just in terms of blaming, but in terms of unlocking what systems or processes have failed, or was it something else? So I think that's my perspective.
Okay, so if I'm not wrong, Royal Ambulance started in 2006.
Yes.
Looking back, what advice would you have liked to receive in that moment when you started?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of an advice that I was giving the new people that join our organization. And I believe it's an element of working harder on yourself than you do at your job. And it's not even my advice. It was bestowed on Tony Robbins from his teacher, Jim Rohn. And that was like Jim Rohn's element. You just got to invest into yourself, because how you communicate, how you listen, how you logic, what your mindset is all super intrinsic. You know your barriers inside of your head. You hear the voice. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not very helpful. So understanding how to separate yourself from the noise, the
From
chatter.
yourself too.
That's right. That's right. Knowing who you are only comes with that experience of digging deeper into understanding what's, again, what outcomes you have, what thoughts and feelings led to it, and how you can impact everything from thoughts, feelings to energy, so you get a better outcome. But that requires a lot of deep work.
Okay. So, and you said that you like your team to know that you care about how they feel. So how do you feel that you are being successful with your team when you work with them?
There is a couple of certainly measures, right? I think first and foremost, we're all as humans, especially when we form a team. I certainly hope that most teams have a sense of how they're gelling, right? How are you responding? How are you communicating? Are you open and transparent? Are you able to be vulnerable? I mean, all those elements, they're essential for any relationship, right? Whether it's, a spousal relationship or it is a working relationship. I think same principles apply. You're doing well when it's open and free-flowing communication, and you're not doing so well when people are guarded, scared, and are not producing their best work. So I think that's probably one of the core elements. You got to be dialed in to how people feel and how open they are in terms of communication. And then certainly results. Results matter when we're talking about work and accomplishments. And I think that's an essential element as a leader to keep a track on.
So I know that you are the president of the... Oh, sorry, I forgot.
California Ambulance
Yes,
Association.
Exactly. So, and you are helping to teach the new generations that will be working on AMS in a near future. So what would you say to them?
Well, to the new generation of EMS workers, well, first of all, right, I think part of my work with California Ambulance Association is to make sure that the next generation of EMS workers gets fairly compensated for the work that we do. Part of our work in California Ambulance Association is making sure that the state, in particular state, has appropriate reimbursement for the services that we do. It is embarrassing how poorly compensated EMS employees are in general. That is a result of reimbursement, and we need to do better by the people that join this career, so they're fairly compensated. So that's number one. I think number two is we certainly focus on the opportunity for growth and development, because as human beings, I think especially, as human beings, we have some evolutionary duties and responsibilities, right? We're constantly evolving, hopefully as humans. I don't want to go deeper into as species, but everything around us is evolving, right? So we want to make sure that we have the right structure organizationally. We have the right leaders that engage with people, that can coach, that can mentor. And then the structures within the organization allow for people to progress from the field to leadership, to education, to other aspects, or to continue evolving their scope of practice.
So basically making it a career.
Yeah, absolutely. Making it progressive and interesting, because people join EMS, they work for a year or two, and then they leave and they go join other aspects of healthcare. Now, certainly we are honored to be the building block to their careers, but we certainly, for sustainability, need to think about other aspects of career ladders that people can pursue in order to have a fulfilling career, life, opportunity to create impact.
I think a big thing kind of related to what we all were talking about is that, obviously there's a lack of innovation, right? But that kind of like layers down also to the coworkers, because if we can innovate and deliver great products that simplify the life of the field provider to a point that they don't have to think about all the things that they have to think about, then they actually get better patient care, because they are using more bandwidth for that, less bandwidth for documentation or whatever they need to think about. And basically it helps them, with the workload, basically. Like, instead of having to deal with so many things at the same time in a shift, you deal with less because things are dealt for you. I think that will be that's why we're aiming at this point to solve. But what do you think about that?
Well, I have a curiosity question for that, because I hear you, because internally I was going along with what you were saying. I was like, oh, totally, right? You want to eliminate barriers to great care. You want to create an easy and simple process. You want to bring technology to aid people. Here's a question. Somewhere along the way, I read or I heard somebody making an interesting point that the more we use AI, the stupider we become. And they simplify that, right? But because we are starting to become super reliant on not using our brain. So, as an AI and technologist and builder, are you concerned that, and a paramedic, are you concerned that you're going to make things so easy accessible in your Meta glasses or whatever the hell comes out next? You're in a what's it called, Neuralink chip in your brain.
No, it's about noise. So if you, like, AI right now is not capable of replacing the cognitive section of the paramedic where it comes to delivering care. It can assist in terms of giving you, but it's not, unless we have super intelligence, I think in about 10 years, it won't be able to cognitively give you the best differential diagnosis to make decision for the patient. That's not going to go away. I don't think in any shape or form. We will have support system, like a clinical decision support, but I don't think that's going to be replaced at all. It's just not there. It will not be there in 10 years unless we have super intelligence. Now, the noise is what I'm talking about. Like, AI can do the simple task of charting the PCR. You don't need to, I don't care for charting for the PCR.
You say that's like the next step.
Yeah.
The charting of PCR is based on
I'm saying eliminate the noise. The stuff that the paramedic doesn't need to think about, like, that doesn't have nothing to do with care. It's just billing, or, we need the face sheet, or we need this. All those tasks that need, can be, improved. We can improve so that the medic has to deal with less, basically, is what I'm saying. So that they have the cognitive, bandwidth to deal with the patient at hand. Because AI is not
observing, asking questions, feeling things out.
Yeah.
This is what AI cannot do.
Exactly. And it won't be able to do it unless we have, even then, even with super intelligence, I don't know how that will work. But we're still 10 years away from that.
Devil's advocate. AI exists in voice technology today, which is mind-blowing, right? Like, AI can detect whether it is mental or let's say cognitive elements. It can predict dementia or other mental health issues.
Yeah.
It can certainly detect speech impediments due to intoxication. So like 5x that. Couldn't you, like, when you're diagnosing it, working with a patient?
No, those are domain-specific machine learning models. Big difference between LLM, a huge difference. That's not a neural network, right?
Okay.
A machine learning model is a trained algorithm, almost like a neural net. Some get close to a neural net, but it's more algorithmic, so more deterministic. And those models are the ones that are used specifically trained to detect that. But if you ask that specific model, hey, what is the dose of epi, and I have a patient that's crashing with XYZ, it's not going to respond. It's not designed for that.
Interesting.
Right? So that's why it's important to understand the differences between machine learning and like actual LLMs, AI. Like that's a very big distinction. And that's why AI right now is not there. Like, you can't go to ChatGPT and ask them like, oh, based on my voice, can you detect this?
But there's technology out there that can.
Yeah, but that is not ChatGPT, and it's not.
No, of course. Right? But like,
it's a model specific for that.
But you can like fast forward to the future. You can see if like I'm wearing meta glasses that's able to listen and detect things in changes in cognition or how patient is presenting, and based on their voice, and certainly some diagnosis with function.
Maybe,
can it just like
the
troubleshoot a patient like this faster than you can?
No, I don't think, because multimodality is something that's going to be hard to achieve. That's basically the biggest thing with reaching super intelligence. The models are limited by language in the case of LLM, right? So their interpretation and the neural network connections that they have are for the actual text. The only domain that the model knows is text. But you need, in order to have a full picture, a physics picture of the world, to basically have the mechanisms to like plan ahead, etc., look at everything. You have to look at everything holistically, which we call multimodality, which is vision, right? Now, instead of being text, we can interpret, pictures. But in that also there is space. There's, temperature. There's like basically like all these other parameters that the like current LLMs and the future LLMs still are not going to be, because that's literally in the name, large language model. It's language model, right?
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense.
So that's why I don't think they're capable, right? We have a CDS system that you can ask things in language wise, and we can give you really contextual answers. But it's never going to be a replacement. I don't think even we will have to talk again when we reach super intelligence.
Okay, till we meet again in a few years.
I want to make you think with this question. What would you add to the to the EMS? What kind of technology would you like to add to integrate? I mean, there's something that you've been thinking like, this would be very useful if we.
I mean, we started. We are in the R&D process of building an EPCR system. Like we already built the back end, like full NEMSIS compliant. The next step was to add AI to it, because my vision was to have basically a almost no interface tablet that basically listens to the call. I mean, that's not going to be a level, but at least when I interact with it, I can just say, hey, I had this call. This is what happened. This were the vital signs. Here's the face sheet. Build the EPCR for me. Oh, here's the EPCR with all the times and everything. Done. Send it. Take, instead of 20 minutes or 30 minutes after the call, right now, 5 minutes. And if I use it, actively, it keeps the notes on it. So that way, like, oh, I added, hey, vital signs right now were this, or I did this intervention, all this. By the time you get there, you say, hey, build me the thing. We're done. Like, I don't want to, you need to write this or write that. Like, that would be like, I think ideal. So that, like, as a medic, that would be like, oh, I don't have to deal with it. EPCR. Like, oh, that's awesome.
What about clinically?
Clinically, I mean, we have the CDS. I used it, and it's being used right now. And, that goal kind of like was what I wanted to, it's a goal I had, and now it's being met. So, I mean, more adoption, I would say, is the goal of that, will be there?
Yeah. I'd say from a purely business perspective, and I won't say purely from business perspective, it's improvement of efficiencies, right? And then the kind of, you alluded to this, is that the current EPCR process is super inefficient. Well, I can say probably similar things. We have inefficiencies in the way that we dispatch units, where the units are placed. A lot of it is currently being done by humans at the dispatch center, very smart, very intelligent people, but they're people. They get impacted by, something happening in the morning, a bad traffic, or have you not, God forbid something happens with a family or a personal life, your logic and your cognitive abilities get impacted. And that can impact the way you dispatch, position, deploy.
Yeah.
So I'd love for technology to evolve around that piece. And I would love for technology to evolve around revenue cycle. Revenue cycle is a complete waste of processes.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you think about what we do, it's absurd that we have to, like, half of our work is coding claims and then recoding them and coding them again and resubmitting them and then getting denied and then having an appeals process. All the healthcare has these super wasteful, completely non-value creating departments and processes that should completely go away.
I mean, that's the reason why we started building the EPCR backend, because if you start at the point of entry, right, which is when the call taking, and if you have everything centralized, you can add small task AIs, right? Like even like rig placement, like all the vehicle placements, and like
Deployment and posting.
Deployment and posting. Sorry, it's been years. That will be actually not a LLM task. It's a machine learning task, because you wanna basically collect data on what you do, and then you apply machine learning instead of like LLM. Not gonna do that.
Correct.
But in call taking, for example, plans, we can have an AI that while the dispatcher gets the call or types in the call, it can tell like, okay, this follows this workflow. You can do this. Those are basically you can use small domains, specific focus that you can basically start replacing one by one. There's not like a one shot kill of like everything. Like AI can be applied to basically eliminate the noise like one by one. Inefficiency here, inefficiency there. This task can be done by this task, and like you basically continue and basically aggregate and augment.
So the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, basically. That's a long-winded answer to say they're basically endless.
So we have to sum up, but I want to make you the last question. And my question is, it's not really a question. I want you to give us a message for those people who are watching, who are like you in 2006 when you were starting. So I want you to give us, a positive message for those people who are starting and they don't really know what to do.
Don't do it.
Don't start.
I would say the same thing.
Don't even start.
I'm kidding. A positive message? I think it's a brave new world out there. It is incredibly, I think, energizing to see how technology is changing, I'd say, the velocity of how we can produce things. The access to knowledge is just incredible. So I think if you are starting out, whether it's on the EMS, whether it's in healthcare, or you want to be a leader, I mean, all these aspects require learning. And today you have access to any kind of technology, and technology brings you information that can help you formulate the exact, I think, plan on how you want to accomplish something. But in the end of the day, it also starts with your vision. You have a good vision towards where you want to go, and it might not be fully formulated, but you kind of have to shape it all the time. And that's what will forever differentiate us from computers, right? I think there's this human element of excitement and vision that you have, and it's like creativity and imagination. So if you use those aspects and attributes better than the technology, but have the technology at your fingertips to give you like support, like the how to, I think those two aspects can be really beautiful beginning to any career or any pursuit. but more importantly to how you create a vision and how you create impact.
Okay, so, well, it's been incredibly to talk with you, to listen to everything that you have said. I think there is a really good message for those people who are starting, who wants to be a leader. You know, seeing from the outside, being a leader looks so hard. I haven't been a leader in anything I have done.
Hey, you're leading this conversation?
I'm leading this conversation, yes, that's right. But, you know, for those out there who are trying to do something, to be brave, you know, I think that's everything that you have said. Be brave. There's a world of possibilities, and we have it. This is the right time. So I want to thank you for being here so much, because I know you have a busy life. And, well, do you want to say anything, Christian?
Don't do it.
No, come on. You push the envelope on applying your sort of technological evolution, because you've evolved technologically quite substantially from what I've gathered through our conversations.
Yeah.
And now you're taking the application of your technological knowledge and you're really trying to enable the people that make the difference in other people's lives.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's something that drives you. What drives you, actually? I think maybe that's a interesting question as a takeaway. How do you find that
change
drive?
I mean, actually, what drive? I mean, I actually have the right answer for that one. Do you know what makes humans immortals?
I don't know. Blood of some sort. I think maybe drinking bat's blood. No.
Baby's blood.
Baby's blood.
Baby.
I went with bats on a purpose.
Yes.
By becoming a legend.
By becoming a legend.
And how you become a legend? By changing.
Okay.
Big communities.
Well, there you go. Be legendary.
Well, there's a
the
good
message.
Title.
There's
the title
to this.
I hope
Be
that is the
legendary.
name of this episode.
You still talk about Einstein, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They still talk about Marcus Aurelius. So, you know, sometimes you don't need to be an Einstein. Sometimes you just need to have a good philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Christian, for this space. This is the Christian Carrasquillo experience, and thank you for watching. My name is Dolores Benítes, and we'll see you again in episode 3, I guess. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.